What's going on, guys? This is Cunine, and welcome to my review of Crash Bash, the first Crash Bandicoot game that wasn't developed by Naughty Dog. It was developed by Eurocom Entertainment Software, an interesting decision to say the least considering they had not previously developed any commercially successful games. However, Crash Bash was designed by Mark Cerny, the same man that designed all previous Crash Bandicoot games, and on a side note, is one of the best game designers I've ever seen. It was published by Sony and distributed by Universal Interactive Studios in late 2000 for the PlayStation. Crash Bash's gameplay is very similar to Mario Party. The game released at roughly the same time and no doubt heavily inspired Crash Bash. You could choose one of 8 possible characters, all of which coming from a Crash Bandicoot game, except for Rillaroo, a cross between a gorilla and a kangaroo. Why is he even in this game? Anyways, this is a party game, so 4 people can play at the same time if you wish. Otherwise, they would be controlled by computers. The artificial intelligence is adequate. Nothing to write home about, but it gets the job done. The entire game is essentially just several rounds of minigames. Each minigame you beat, you will obtain a trophy. Crystals and gems can be obtained by completing challenges. These challenges are very difficult, and at times can be extremely monotonous. Trophies, crystals, and gems are required to fight the next boss. You start off with 4 easy minigames, and as you complete each warp zone, a new minigame is presented alongside existing minigames increasing in difficulty. There are 4 bosses in total, and each are basically just variations of minigames previously played. After you have beaten the boss in your current warp zone, you can travel to the next. Score is shown on the top of the screen. This can mean points or health depending on the minigame. If there is a time limit in said minigame, it will also be shown on the top. Controls are pretty intuitive, but they're also shown at the start of each minigame, along with the objective. Saving the game is pretty easy and can be done in any warp zone. The only limitations on saving is the amount of space on your memory card. The plot is nothing special, but for a party game, it's impressive considering most of the time don't even have a plot. The premise in this game is that Aku Aku and Uka Uka have gotten into an argument about which is stronger, good or evil. Uka Uka suggests to fight Aku Aku, but he declines, citing the ancients would not allow it. This eventually leads to the agreement of throwing a team-based contest. However, Uka Uka summons too many players and must give 2 of them to the opposing team. At the end, depending on which side you played for, good or evil, a cutscene will be played accordingly. This is pretty innovative because I can't seem to think of many other games that came before this that had an alternate ending. Graphics are excellent in Crash Bash. Every minigame and boss battle has its own unique stage and background. Colors are presented very vividly, and this contributes to make each stage memorable. Animations are also done exceptionally well. Many times throughout my playthrough, I forgot I was only playing on a PlayStation 1. As tradition, the music is phenomenal. Steve Duckworth did an outstanding job both remixing old Crash songs as well as making some original tracks. I also quite enjoyed the sound effects. Each effect sounded like a lot of time and effort went into it and is very convincing. All of the original voice actors from previous installments also came back to voice Crash Bash, and they are just as interesting and exciting as ever. Crash Bash is extremely difficult to beat, and thus is extremely rewarding to beat. There is some replayability based on the alternate endings, but not much. Crash Bash is one of my childhood favorites on the PlayStation, and if you can get your hands on it for around $15, I totally recommend it. I'm giving Crash Bash an 8.3 out of 10 based on the vivid graphics, marvelous soundtrack, decent plot, and it's a great party game. However, there are some major issues presented throughout the game. Some examples of this are the unoriginal gameplay and monotonous challenges. Disagree? Have suggestions for the next video? Leave what you would have scored the game and any suggestions you might have in the comments. My last video was a review of Solar Jetman for the Nintendo Entertainment System, a remarkable game made by Rare. Click here to check it out. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see similar content.